All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna move this a little bit. And thanks. So I'm gonna start with 10. This is with all of these distractions. He might be, he usually responds even less than 10 now, but at first he would be like, he would care less about that. So you guys didn't even feel him. And so just to show you again, that's what we'll practice beforehand, so you can get the sensation and then you know what's going on too. You still, once in a while, you're gonna say, am I hitting it too high? But that doesn't mean this is what we're practicing, so you can be aware of that is what levels are what, for what purpose. So I'm gonna just move it, I'm gonna move, and then so I do want him to go, I'm just gonna move around, and then
He's waiting for him to get distracted and move out of his bubble so he can call him back in.
might create a little bit more distraction by moving out there, just like outside that wire, so then maybe he will get distracted with his scent. Arlo? There we go. Okay, the dog of like, they can do it. We've done it in like very sensitive guys versus like dogs like him that he's like, I'm ready. And so you just need to trigger what the outcome is. Arlo? Arlo? There we go. Good boy.
So when do you decide to use this as opposed to like we call the treats?
Well,
Like which is this harder for them to do because there's no treats? Or
it really it's really up to you.
okay.
So
But sometimes we get dogs that won't take treats. These two didn't take treats for the first week and a half or two, and we still had to do the
Murphy
work.
just started early. So right here, he's already getting used to the same stimulation. So I'm just gonna go a little bit. I'm gonna bump it up a little bit. And so, whether I have a treat or not, your goal is you need to return.
Yeah.
And take it as an expectation no matter what. That's the structure. However, if you want to make it fun and have treats, obviously reward it. Arlo? Good boy. So, I do, if I don't have treats, I do touch them. That's another form of like saying that it's good. Now, right here, I also get picky at some point. I want in and outs, and he got it. He goes in and out. But I also, eventually, I do get picky about what I want. So meaning that I like to start introducing a verbal command, such as okay, very simple, straightforward, to move from, to break from this exercise. So, okay. Again, or you can take it as a game, Arlo. You can take it as a game that, or maybe not a game, but when I said, or remind you that your dog needs to know what this means, so regardless of the stimulation, my dog will come back. So the dog sometimes turning around and coming back, it is not easy for a dog to do that. It's going against their nature. So having that understanding is very important. But I am going to, Arlo, come on, wait. So when we practice, if you remember, we practice the bubble, right? So I want him to know what my bubble is all about first. And then I'm going to start doing this pattern. And then basically I want you to think about it. It's that my bubble small, very high structure. When I allow my dog to go further away, then that's me extending my bubble to a different level. But I can also take it back. No matter what, my dog has to be right here. And if I'm not ready, then there are two ways to say no. No is I just lock it and then I just don't allow it to move. Or I click it and I say no at the same time. Alright? So but he has to wait, and it's very important that he waits because these dogs, the hottest problem for high energy dogs is the waiting period, and that's the most important thing. So you do have to make a point to do that. Okay. So when would I do this? Well, I do this when I don't have a lot of distractions around me. Then I can enjoy myself and my dog doing this. As soon as I see, say, dogs or people and dogs, especially off leash, I'm going to call my dog really close, and I want them really, really close. Like my bubble has become a lot smaller. And everyone has his own decisions to make, but I like small bubbles, like high structure, because I don't like any BS on my dogs, and I don't want anyone coming towards me and doing the same thing towards my dogs. So I guess that's me. You don't have to be that way, but like it does make a big difference when I tell my dog, you're doing it right now. But I also want you to know that once we call high structure and where we are, sometimes people get confused about that. They think that we don't allow dogs to play or enjoy themselves. Well, we have 17 acres on this side, 5 acres on the other side, and then they're always using it. And they also live in daycare all freaking day, every day. So, and they wrestle and they play all day. So my point is, when you put your dog to work, don't hesitate to put them to work. And ask for high levels of structure or understanding. And then, but if you want to, then you can have a replacement for other things somewhere else. So these guys, when I'm starting to do that, I want them to adjust to me a lot, not just a little bit. But the payment back for releasing that energy is going to be games in the social aspect. If we don't get that, and then we have other versions of like releasing energy somewhere else. But yes, so that's kind of like how we use the retractable leash. Sometimes I have this clip right here, and sometimes I just clip it right here. Don't count that this is gonna hold, by the way. So just loop it around somewhere, or like me, I would never allow this to even get tense. I just constant reminders. You don't want to listen, crank it up. So that's where you go. When your dog is being a knucklehead, and then you go from this, then you gotta go right away. In a split second, you have to go from this to stop. Your dog gets it, and then you go to this again. See, that's playing the game, because you're saying, I like you to have this, but we have rules in place, right? So he goes.
Did you do anything?
That's him using his head. Right?
Thinking.
Okay.
Look at him thinking.
So yeah, that's the only way we use it. I do use it with the prong collar, because you can get hurt, he can get hurt without the prong collar either way. I have so many people calling because they get hurt, broken ribs, arms.
Or it gets wrapped around a limb,
it is
or
like very severe burns, and it is not good. But we do with the prong collar, because sometimes once they try it and then they do this, it's full of self-correction. Sometimes it needs to happen for them to stop on their own and think hard where the boundaries are.
So when you say prong collar, you're talking about the 10, right? Not just a regular prong collar?
Right, the prong, the metal with the...
He's got the prong collar attached to the retractable leash, so it's not a flat collar.
And the other one is, you also have to make a point yourself to teach the dog, I don't want you outside of this boundaries. So that's going to be your trigger to say, don't push it, right? Arlo. So right here, I'm gonna do exactly what I did about my bubble when we practiced. Remember last time about your bubble 4 feet? But I'm gonna try it just with this instead of the pressure release. So I'm gonna move, and then I'm going to constantly click when he's getting away from my bubble.
That's specific practice for us.
So you're gonna see a lot of shaking, and that's good. Now, this definitely is something is so anyway, so that's kind of like the goal here, that you're constantly have to so right here I'm doing two things. I'm doing this, I'm also doing my movement. So see, I'm just kind of moving back and forth, and then once I get him in a rhythm, he will start looking for me, for my body, for my energy. So those two always play a big part of it. So, but this is just an extra connection that you have. Sometimes it's better when you start doing recall, and then you don't want to have 100 feet line when you're teaching a dog, and then you don't want to, I'm doing this, or it gets tangled. This is good because it's only 10 feet away from you, and then you can start graduating him from more.
Can I just reiterate real quick, because you said I'm constantly clicking, the reminder. Is it like just to keep the attention, or do you wait until it seems like he's like a little bit distracted? Just because I can't see your finger, so
Right.
do you do it like constantly, like pay attention, pay attention?
Yes, you could do that. It's kind of like if you hit it once, if it has the contact points, if it's the right stimulation, it would feel it and would respond right away. If they don't, so what you could do is, what I do is I hit it 3 times. Not press and hold. It's more in and out, in and out, in and out, like quick.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of like if I say to you, hey, wake up, hey, kind of thing. The other one is if you definitely get in there and they're not paying attention, then that's kind of like what I pointed out about, like sometimes it's not, it's here, and sometimes it is the number. So you have to look up, well, one, you have to make sure that it's fully charged, or be aware of that it always has some use, because then that could also play a big part. You could be like, well, this is not working, and then you can do a bunch of different things, and it can turn out that the battery is not work, or it's out of battery. So if it's working, then it's possibly the contact points. If the head moves, if you have the head and then you grab the head and then you do this, then that's good. But if you grab the head of the collar and then it moves with your hand like this, it's not good. So you want snug. You don't want it really tight, but you want it snug. So.